Visitors to Cambridge Stud couldn't miss the poster on the wall adjacent to Zabeel's stable. Like father, like son. Very true. As Zabeel followed his sire Sir Tristram in creating breeding history. It's a proud record of two champion sires. But you can't help wondering if Zabeel might have been clever enough to see that poster as more than a statement. Did Zabeel view it as a challenge to exceed his super sire? The son already had much to live up to when he was foaled in 1986. The pedigree on both sides promised much. His grandsire, Sir Ivor, was an English Derby winner. The dam, Lady Giselle, from the champion sire Nureyev. Zabeel went to race in Australia under Colin Hayes and overshadowed his sire on the track. He won 7 races, including the Group 1 Australian Guineas in 1990. The measure of a good studmaster is succession planning. Sir Tristram was still in his prime, but Sir Patrick Hogan had an eye on the future to ensure that Cambridge Stud stayed at the forefront of Australasian breeding. He always fancied as Sir Tristram's son to join the ranks at Cambridge, and when Zabeel was retired to stud in 1991, Hogan got his wish. The Irish-bred Sir Tristram had a rocky introduction to New Zealand in 1976. Some of Hogan's shareholders were less than impressed on his arrival, after he'd been bought, sight unseen. The feisty stallion didn't let Hogan down, producing 37 foals in the first season. Australian buyers claimed the majority, and as 3-year-olds, they started to impress with black-type wins. Like father, like son, Zabeel didn't let Hogan down with his own introduction to the stud. Zabeel's first 2 crops included Octagonal, Jezebel, and Might and Power. Octagonal drew the early attention with victories in the 2 richest weight for age races on the Australian calendar: the 1995 Cox Plate and the 1996 Mercedes Classic. The Sydney 3-year-old Triple Crown made him a certainty to be voted Australian Horse of the Year in 1996. Might and Power took over the mantle a year later, winning the Caulfield and Melbourne Cups and then the Cox Plate the following year. Zabeel's reputation was permanently established by their performances, the pair winning 17 Group 1 races between them. Zabeel's progeny made it back-to-back Melbourne Cup winners in 1998. Jezebel and Champagne going one better with the Quinella.
It's the mares, Champagne, Jezebel, clear from Yorkshire, Torfin's Melody, Champagne in front of Jezebel, Persian Punch and Torfin's Melody, Champagne and Jezebel, Jezebel's fighting back on the rails and won the cup. Jezebel fought back to win and beat Champagne at Quinella for the mares.
Zabeel horses showed a liking for the Cox Plate. Zabeel made it 3 for the sire in 2004. Zabeel's success was followed by Maldivian in 2008, making Zabeel the greatest sire in Cox Plate history. Like father, like son, Zabeel has reigned over the national yearling sales, extending Cambridge Stud's run as the leading vendor into a 4th decade. Sir Tristram set a benchmark with the first $1 million yearling sale in 1989. In 2000, a Zabeel colt sold for the New Zealand and Australian record of $3.6 million. When retirement came in late 2013, Zabeel was in a class of his own. More than 1,000 winners, 100 group winners, and worldwide earnings in excess of $173 million. It wasn't the end of the story. 30 yearlings on offer at the Karaka sales meant Zabeel's progeny would continue to perform for many years. Another legacy for the super sire is the growing impact of his daughters at stud. They're proving to be potent producers of black-type winning racehorses. A proud feature at Cambridge Stud is this tribute to Zabeel's Group 1 winners. At the time of induction, it had 43 plaques, 2 behind his father's record of 45. Like father, like son, Zabeel has racked up an impressive collection of premierships in more than 2 decades at stud. Zabeel exceeded his father with 15 Dewar Stallion trophies, while Sir Tristram finished with 9. In 2012, Zabeel won the New Zealand Broodmare Sire title, and the Australian equivalent as well. The son had surpassed the Super Sire. Sir Patrick Hogan has been the driving force behind the success at Cambridge Stud. He led the way into the New Zealand Racing Hall of Fame as an inaugural inductee in 2006. Sir Tristram followed in 2008. There were still more chapters to add to the Zabeel story. But in 2014, it was time for this Super Sire to take his place alongside the 2 outstanding knights.